Hey, it's me, Fishku! You look strong. Hey, let's fight! This is gonna be fun! I'm getting excited! Oh no. Is that? It is! It's frozen fish! Let me guess. You're here to destroy the planet, huh?
Oh, sorry. I meant to put this thing away. Just give me 1 second.
Huh? Hey! Go get your costume! You're supposed to be dressed up as Frieza!
Now, why would I do that? Don't you remember? You wouldn't let me be Luigi in that Mario video we did a few months back, so I assumed you didn't want me to be in this one at all.
Your attitude makes me so mad! You're gonna pay! Frieza! Dogfish Boy!
Okay! Well, I'm gonna go. We still need props for the music video, so yeah. Have fun playing, though. I'm sure the fans will love this one.
Okay. Let's talk about Dragon Ball, shall we? Do you expect me to explain what Dragon Ball is to you? You've been living under a damn rock if you somehow don't know what Dragon Ball is at this point. This series has existed for 40 years and counting, and has been immensely popular around the entire world. Some of you may be more familiar with the name Dragon Ball Z, which is just one part of this entire franchise. Regardless of what you call it, Dragon Ball has been a massive part of the cultural zeitgeist for a very long time now. A lot of Western fans were probably introduced to Dragon Ball through Dragon Ball Z airing on Toonami back in the 90s and 2000s. I, on the other hand, am 25 years old. I would have been far too young to experience that back in the day. Back when I was little, I was watching shit like this, and this. The closest thing to anime that I was aware of back then was Sonic X. And that doesn't count, but I wouldn't get into Dragon Ball until 2010 when I saw Dragon Ball Z Kai for the first time on Nicktoons. Wait, what the fuck? I know there's this huge debate over which version of Dragon Ball Z is better, and I could go on all day about my personal preferences, not just with the Z versus Kai debate, but with the sub versus dub debate as well, but I don't think any of this matters. Because the manga is better anyway. Now stop your yapping and read the damn manga, you posers! After discovering the series, it became an obsession of mine, one that still persists to this very day. One of the reasons being its incredibly memorable cast of characters. The main highlights that stick out to me are Goku, Bulma, Gohan, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, Trunks, Krillin, everyone's favorite character, Tenshinhan. Look, we'd be here all day if I had to mention every single character here. They're all incredibly likable and memorable, even if they don't get as much screen time as they deserve. Yamcha's low-key cool as hell. Y'all need to start putting some respect on his name. Yamcha has been the laughingstock of this franchise for decades, mostly due to fans who haven't seen the original Dragon Ball, and it's getting old, almost as old as those Goku bad father jokes. Cut it out! Out of all the characters, my favorite is probably Piccolo. I just love the progression of his character throughout the entire franchise. He's just excellent in my opinion. If you are a fan of this series and you have yet to experience the original Dragon Ball, then I absolutely implore you to do so as soon as you can. But if you really don't want to go through the whole thing, especially for certain reasons, then you at the very least owe it to yourself to experience the King Piccolo saga and the Piccolo Jr. saga. This is where Dragon Ball truly becomes, well, Dragon Ball as we know it now. Well, aside from, this, seeing all the cool shit that these characters can do really makes me wonder what it would be like to live in this world. Like, how cool would it be to be able to fight like them? Thankfully, video games exist, and in those games you can do just that. Huh?
Hey, sorry for being a petty asshole earlier. To make it up to you, I went to the store and picked up this outfit. What do you think?
Who's that supposed to be?
Huh? It's Goku Black, from Dragon Ball Super.
Now you're just making shit up. That's literally just a palette swap of Son Goku. We're not doing OCs in this video,
Huh?
Look, I can do a palette swap too. I can also do this. While we're here, we might as well talk about the other two Dragon Ball shows, Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super. Both of these shows are pretty divisive for one reason or another, but overall, I think they're both fine. Okay, they're kind of mid, they have their problems, but I enjoy them for what they are. I prefer Super just a little bit over GT, but overall, when they're good, they're pretty damn good. When they're bad, they're kind of embarrassing, to be honest. But hey, at least they're not as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution. We do not talk about that in this house. Can we talk about the games now? Video games. Dragon Ball is certainly no stranger to the medium at all. Dragon Ball games actually started getting made only a couple of years after the series' inception, and they started getting really, really good as early as the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo era, which I think is really cool. Dragon Ball probably has more games under its belt than Zelda at this point, so I'm not going to go over all of them. I'll just go over a few that I really enjoyed. Of course, you gotta start with the classics. You got Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, or Sparking Meteor in Japan. This game is one of the most beloved Dragon Ball games ever made, and that mostly comes down to the massive character roster and gameplay that really makes you feel like a Dragon Ball character. I know. Sorry. You got the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games. These are the first Dragon Ball games to give you the ability to create your own character. I said the first Dragon Ball games to give you the ability to create your own character. And honestly, they're really, really fun. This game has like millions of dollars worth of DLC, so proceed with caution if you're a compulsive spender. If you know me, then you would know that I absolutely adore more traditional fighting games, and because of that, Dragon Ball FighterZ is my favorite Dragon Ball game, and it's not even close. I know there's older titles like the Super Butoden games, Hyper Dimension, and Super Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball FighterZ scratches an itch that I desperately needed scratched by a Dragon Ball game. It was created by the same company that created Guilty Gear and BlazBlue, if you're familiar with those, and it has a similar feel to that of Marvel vs. Capcom. That's a series that desperately needs to come back, by the way. Anyway, play this game. If you have a PS5 or an Xbox or PC, it just got an update so it plays better online, so have fun. Oh, please be good. There are so many different Dragon Ball games out there that it's ridiculous. There's no way in hell I'm gonna talk about all of them here. There's also some really cool crossover games between Dragon Ball and other Shonen Jump manga and anime, but I'll save that for another time, maybe. Guess we'll see. I honestly believe that Akira Toriyama, the creator of the Dragon Ball franchise, is a genius. The world and the characters that this man has created are pretty much timeless. They have resonated with millions of people across the entire world and will no doubt continue to do so for decades and decades to come. And I'm not just talking about Dragon Ball either. I'm also talking about the other work that he's done. Did you know that prior to Dragon Ball, he created a gag manga series called Dr. Slump, which was hugely successful in Japan. And this series predates Dragon Ball. Like, he made an incredibly successful series that was iconic enough on its own, and then went on to make the most iconic anime/manga in history. Very rarely do creators manage to strike gold like that, but Toriyama did, and that's inspiring. Do you know how much influence Dr. Slump has had on Japanese media? I'm not even talking about Dragon Ball. I'm talking about Dr. Slump. Do you know how many things were influenced by Dr. Slump? I got 3 pretty big ones right here. First one, looks like Sonic took way more influence from Toriyama than we thought. Now, you could argue that this is a little bit of a stretch, but come on now. Really? Really? No way all of these are coincidences. Is it really a stretch to say that this might be intentional? Yeah, sure. Does this look familiar? Well, it should, because that's the Tanuki suit from Super Mario! I'm not even done yet! That's not even the craziest one! Oh, look at that. Poop. With a face. Where have I seen that before? Oh yeah, the fucking poop emoji! Akira Toriyama might have been the first person to put a face on a pile of shit! I really need to get into Dr. Slump, don't I? Enough poop jokes and Vine booms for now. Did you know that Akira Toriyama was the artist for the Dragon Quest franchise? For those of you who don't have enough context, if it weren't for Dragon Quest, Zelda and Final Fantasy wouldn't exist. He was also the artist behind Chrono Trigger, one of my favorite video games of all time. More likely than not, if you know what anime is, you probably know what Naruto is, and you probably know what One Piece is. These two franchises took heavy inspiration from Dragon Ball, and they both happen to be legendary in their own right. At this point, I'm pretty much going on a tangent, but Dragon Ball means a whole lot to me, and there's a reason why. Things weren't exactly the best when I was coming up. I had to deal with a lot of bullying and such. I was in a really low place when I discovered the franchise, and it gave me hope. I know it sounds incredibly cheesy, but seeing characters like Goku overcome obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, getting stronger and stronger, all while being a positive force in the lives of everybody he meets, it was truly inspiring, and it made me want to do better, just as a person. And because of that newfound confidence, I started to hyperfixate on the franchise. It became a borderline obsession. Then a few years later, after Dragon Ball Super had concluded, that obsession started to lessen a bit, but then the pandemic happened 2 years later, and it gave me the opportunity to read the entire manga from beginning to end for the first time, and it reinvigorated my love and admiration for this franchise. Dragon Ball is a franchise that I love interacting with in general. It doesn't matter what context it is. It can be the original, it can be Z, it can be Super, it can be whatever. Well, maybe not whatever, but I just love Dragon Ball, and it's a franchise that I will always love no matter what. One of the things that I love about Dragon Ball is that it brings people together. It doesn't matter what version of the series you love, dub, sub, whatever. It's a franchise that unites all of us. And with the unfortunate passing of Akira Toriyama earlier this month, the community has really come together to celebrate this man's legacy overall. Our community has garnered a reputation for being kinda toxic, so thankfully a lot of that has subsided for a while for the sake of celebrating this wonderful franchise. With Dragon Ball Daima being the last Dragon Ball related thing that Toriyama worked on prior to his passing, hopefully we can all come together and enjoy it when it does come out. This franchise deserves all the love and respect that it has garnered over the past 40 years, and its legacy will continue to live on within the hearts and minds of all of us. Its greatness is something that cannot be understated. Thank you to everybody for watching, and thank you, Toriyama, for inspiring all of us to push past our limits. And as we continue to cherish this franchise for many, many years to come, let's hope that the future is filled with tons of bright-eyed children attempting to do a Kamehameha or go Super Saiyan in their backyards, as we did when we were kids. Take care.